Halo Infinite will be the last Halo game for at least 10 years, according to studio head Chris Lee. This means there'll be no Halo Infinite 2, at least for the foreseeable future. Instead, we'll be loading up Halo Infinite when new campaigns and multiplayer maps are released. But why are they doing this? Well, my name is Same Token, and today I'll be discussing the evolution of games that led us to this point, why 343 are switching to this model, and what they are likely trying to accomplish by making Halo Infinite a platform. And so, you're watching the last Halo for 10 years. The delivery methods of video games has changed a great deal since the 90s. There are the obvious transitions from floppy disks to CDs and then DVDs, but perhaps the largest change has been the internet. Digital distribution enables developers to push updates and downloads out to players at any time after a game's release. Even in the 6th generation of consoles, games were receiving additional content that could be downloaded over the internet. Suddenly, games were no longer self-contained. Instead, they could be altered over time. Release a game with a massive bug? Why recall and reprint all the DVDs when you can just release a quick patch? Did your team come up with a great idea for a new level? Or is your publisher starting to quake in their boots because they haven't got their fix of money? Release some DLC. And now, we're seeing an evolution of this. Games are being supported far longer after release. Instead of the odd large expansion pack, we are seeing smaller microtransactions being used to monetize their existence. This is known as a game as a service. And because they keep changing, they are also called live games. Oscar Clarke, in his book about games as a service, noted that no longer do these games sell themselves on the core gameplay, but instead on what the game could become. Team Fortress 2 is a great example of a game that is important not because of its core release, but because of what happened after. Valve unknowingly set the modern standard of live games, creating content updates for a game years after release, while also allowing players to purchase cosmetic items. This differed from classic examples of games as a service models like World of Warcraft, which initially had no microtransactions and required a paid subscription. Bungie had been supporting their Halo games post-release since Halo 2, providing purchasable map packs. They even offered something called Bungie Pro, a paid subscription in the Halo 3 era that expanded your file share, allowing you to share more maps, game types, and screenshots. But Bungie wanted to go further. In GDC 2013, they imagined a persistent world that you could share with other players. In the conference, Christopher Barrett set out their goal. Let's build a world where we can tell any great story we want. A place millions of people will want to visit again and again for the next 10 years and more. They called this Destiny, and it would become Activision's game-as-a-service poster child. Yet, despite its excellent gunplay and graphics, it did not last 10 years before another release. Destiny 2 was launched just 3 years later, roughly the same gap between Halo 2 and 3. However, it did exemplify some of the benefits of its live service model. With each update, Destiny became markedly better. And this was the initial value proposition, making a game that will evolve and improve over time, except it just wasn't fully realized. Then there's Grand Theft Auto Online, which is a great example of how a game as a service can offer longevity. And it also looks like Fortnite is currently taking the top spot of live service games, for better or for worse. And now, it seems as though 343 are looking to take Halo towards that direction. Speaking with IGN, Halo Infinite studio head Chris Lee revealed that Infinite will be the final standalone release of Halo for the foreseeable future. Lee was quoted saying that Halo Infinite is the start of their platform for the future, and that it's really about creating Halo Infinite as the start of the next 10 years for Halo, and then building that as they go with their fans and community. New Halo story experiences will all be released under the Halo Infinite banner, and the game is expected to evolve technologically over time. The main takeaway from this is that Halo Infinite is not just a game, it's a platform. But why are they going down this route? Why move away from big segmented releases? Well, we must first address the elephant in the room: money. Games as a service has reportedly allowed the game industry to triple its value. Back in GDC 2011, Atul Baga, a game industry research analyst, predicted the stark evolution in the games as a service model we are seeing today. Before, publishers would charge a single price to everyone, and that was it. However, this overlooked a colossal segment of players who would otherwise spend more. The modern remedy to this is live service elements, offering a stream of updates and additions, and virtual items which can be purchased with real money. And if they're really wanting to push it a little too far, and I know some people enjoy them, but loot boxes are also an option. Though, fortunately, 343 has confirmed this will not be the case for Infinite. In the end of the day, money is an important factor. After all, it's what allows them to give us more Halo. Every year, more money is required to produce AAA titles, and with that, the risk to the publisher increases. So, having Halo Infinite become a long-term investment will mitigate some of that risk and ensure we keep getting our Halo fix. Let's just hope that they don't overdo it, because that is the last thing we want from Halo. Now, having said all that, IGN claims that Infinite will not be a live service game a la Destiny. But I'll agree with Wes Fenlon from PC Gamer here, who notes that the only way for Infinite to serve as a platform is for it to receive updates and expansions, much like a live service game. After all, Chris Lee's comments about Infinite being the start of the next 10 years of Halo is comparable to Christopher Barrett's comment about Destiny.
A place millions of people will want to visit again and again for the next 10 years and more.
The one part I will agree with, however, is that Infinite will not be another Destiny. When they call Infinite a platform, I think this refers less to it being an ever-changing open world, and more towards it being a launchpad for new Halo campaign releases. In an interview with Polygon, Xbox boss Phil Spencer suggested that they were learning from the Master Chief Collection when developing Infinite. They see the benefit of not requiring that players decide between Halo games, instead allowing them to jump straight into whatever they like. Spencer noted that he feels each game competes with each other when they're segmented, and so when the games are integrated, they no longer have to pry their customers away from their own products. Thus, when new Halo campaigns are released, players can launch it from Halo Infinite, just as they do in the Master Chief Collection. We've already seen 343 experiment with releasing Halo games piecemeal onto a platform with the Master Chief Collection on PC. And while Halo Infinite's campaigns will be full experiences, we have seen other developers successfully employ episodic approaches, such as in Life is Strange and The Walking Dead. Halo Infinite could be an evolution of this, allowing it to grow and evolve over time. And in Infinite, when new multiplayer maps are released, they will all be available to the player, rather than players having to leave behind fan favorites when a new game is released. Additionally, 343 will be continually updating the graphics of Halo Infinite. The studio has already confirmed that a ray tracing update is due post-release. Larger graphical overhauls could coincide with large story releases being made available across the entire game. Traditionally, when a new Halo is released, the graphics of the older version remains the same. It's left untouched. There's no graphical updates. Well, with Halo Infinite, we could see all campaigns updated to the latest graphics every time a new campaign is released. So the game we are playing in December will look far better 3 years or so down the line. And this could be great news to those who are concerned with the way Infinite's graphics are looking in the trailers. Ultimately then, while IGN claims Halo Infinite is not a live service game, I would instead say that Halo Infinite is a new type of live service game that combines the benefits from having individual campaigns and graphical improvements with the benefits of integration. And so, Halo Infinite will be unlike many of the games as a services we've seen recently. It will not be a shared world like Destiny, and instead the campaigns will still cater to solo players with the option of co-op. Except this time, all the campaigns will appear under a single game. And so it looks like Infinite will be an evolution of the way the Master Chief Collection manages the classic Halos. Except when a new campaign is released, the graphics of all the campaigns could be updated to a similar standard. This is my favorite aspect, as despite the initial teething issues, the Master Chief Collection is incredibly convenient and allows me to spend less time swapping discs and more time punching regret. Now, we've yet to see what the multiplayer will bring, though there's every likelihood it will be recognizably Halo. The games as a service aspect of Infinite will simply allow all multiplayer maps for the next 10 years to be consolidated on a single platform. So, if 6 years down the line you fancy playing the launch maps, you don't need to switch to a different game. They could all be made available. And there are rumors that the multiplayer portion will be free to play, which would be further evidence of the live service model. Although this could be cause for some concern, there are many competitive games which successfully employ free-to-play without becoming intrusive. For those games, it has greatly bumped player numbers, keeping them alive. But that part is speculation at this point. Only time will tell whether Halo Infinite's use of games as a service elements is the correct approach. But at the very least, it is a pledge for their commitment to Halo over the next 10 years. So, what are your feelings about this approach? Would you prefer segmented releases as we've had since the start? Or do you like the sound of the use of a single consolidated platform? Let me know how you feel in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for more. It really helps. This channel just reached 50,000 subscribers, and it absolutely could not have been possible without you. So, thank you so much for your support. I have a Twitter where I'll be posting stuff on the lead up to Halo Infinite. If you want to check it out, it's @TokenTweets. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you next time.